demand that they do what the people want them to do. And with that said, I'm going to ask my chant leader to throw this out with a chant.
You know, I love that that's the chant that we just led with, because it's a conversation I had with my clients over my 7 years of practice as a public defender. My name is Tiffany Caban. I'm the council member of the 22nd, and yes, I could name the neighborhoods that I represent, but I want everyone here to know that I represent Rikers Island. Those are my constituents. And I look at folks like Regattas back here, and I know you had these conversations too, where you're sitting down with your client, whether you're about to take a plea, and part of our responsibility is to talk about what those collateral consequences are, right? How you're going to be affected in your everyday life when you return to your community, what comes next while you're incarcerated. And one thing that was, we have like a rap, we have spiel, but one thing I always included was making sure my clients knew that they were not, under certain circumstances, and a lot of circumstances, not losing their right to vote, so they must not surrender it, and they had to exercise it. Because when we look at a system that criminalizes poverty, that criminalizes black and brown folks, that criminalizes queer and trans folks, that criminalizes
viewed or believe they are viewed as invisible, who are not allowed to engage in society, will act like it. One of the reasons that we want to make sure Rikers is closed is because it's so out of sight, people forget that there are even people there. And you add that to the fact that knowing that your right is being violated to vote, that right is being taken away from you illegally, and no one seems to care, what does that do to your mentally and psyche when you eventually come back home to the place where we all live? So this is actually a matter of public safety. People who are engaged in civic responsibility, people who are engaged in society, tend to be people who are engaged in civic society and act responsibly. So we want to make sure that Rikers, the city, DOE, make it as easy as possible to make sure that people who are housed there can exercise their right to vote. Not next year and the year before, but this year, for this election.
Yeah.
It's not okay to say we know that people are not being able to even exercise their right and not giving them an opportunity to do so. So
not only put a police space or an apparatus in place, but that they are the ones that oversee correctly. Thank you for your time.
Vote, do not surrender your vote. Do not surrender your vote. Do not surrender your vote. Do not surrender your vote.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I'd like to thank God for the opportunity. I'm very grateful that to share space with Jumaane, who I'm proud to call my public advocate. Right. So first thing I want to mention is that in 2020 election, I was placed on NIC, right, on a parole violation, technical violation. Excuse me. So what happened was, it was election time. Obviously, it was a huge election. It was a presidential election, and what was taking place was, it was a pretense to have people vote absentee ballots, vote absentee ballots. So what happened was, they were passing out the information, they were posting the information. However, in theory, it sounded good, but in reality, it didn't work out because people didn't know where to send the stuff to. Once they got the stuff, the forms were filled out in a timely manner, they weren't able to get this information back to the Board of Elections and then return to them so that they were able to vote. And then even if they were, there was no place to actually get this vote taking place and counted.
Homicide on Rikers Island is silent violence.
No homicide on Rikers Island is silent violence. No polling site on Rikers Island is silent violence. No polling site on Rikers Island is silent violence. Tell them. No polling site on Rikers Island is silent violence. My voice, my vote is my choice. You will not hinder my voice. Come on. My vote is my choice. You will not hinder my voice.
My vote
is my choice. You will not hinder my voice. Surrender your vote. Do not. 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 surrender your vote. Do not surrender your vote.